The man felt his wife's breasts were too small, so he molded larger ones for her using butter. Feeling humiliated, the angry wife pinched off the fat from her husband's body and stuffed it onto his shoulders. In this world of butter, you can mold whatever you want. They were a harmonious married couple. At the wedding ceremony, in front of many relatives and friends, the man and his wife raised their glasses. But just then, red wine spilled onto the woman's pristine wedding dress. She glared at her husband angrily, but he hadn't done it on purpose. Helpless, the woman resolved her husband's embarrassment with a kiss. After a sweet kiss, the two were officially married, entering a world of their own. Arriving at the bridal chamber, they found it empty. The man let go of his wife's hand and stooped down, fiddling with the floor. Soon, a tidy, large bed was created. Seeing this, the wife ran to find a bouquet of roses to decorate the bedside. With their joint efforts, furniture was made one by one. The man made a sofa, and the wife made a TV. There was still an empty space. After some thought, the husband prepared to build a crib there, but the woman was a bit dissatisfied. She hated having her belly expand during pregnancy. The man could only walk away dejectedly. To ease the conflict, the wife made a puppy in the crib as their child. Although the husband seemed satisfied, the seeds of discord were sown. One day, while watching TV, the husband noticed it was full of sexy beauties. He looked at his own wife and was utterly disappointed. Suddenly, the wife thought of something. She piled up a beach scene on the table, wanting her husband to take her on vacation. However, the impatient man drew a coin icon on the table, indicating they no longer had enough money to travel. Then, he crumpled the beach pile into a ball, turning it into an outdoor camping scene on the table. But the woman felt it was dangerous outside, possibly encountering bears. The man had to give up on the topic. In the end, the couple parted unhappily. The husband hugged her tightly, and they reconciled again. But in reality, no problems were solved. One day, the man was watching a game. The house puppy kept barking, making it hard for the wife to cook in peace. She wanted her husband to leash the dog, but the man's eyes were only on the game, ignoring her. Just as the game on TV reached a critical moment, the woman directly flipped over the TV table. The husband angrily stomped on the dog they had raised for many years. The wife was horrified. However, the husband used the dog's butter to mold a small TV. His stubborn behavior left the woman utterly disappointed. When the man returned to the room to apologize to his wife, he noticed the red wine stain from their wedding seemed to have never faded. So, the husband picked up a piece of butter from the floor and stuck it on his wife's chest. However, this wasn't the man's true intention. The more he looked, the more he felt something was off, thinking his wife's breasts were too small. So he stuck the entire block of butter on his wife's chest. The woman was baffled by this behavior. She pinched off the fat from the man's beer belly and pressed it onto his shoulders. Thus, the couple's years of conflict finally erupted. In the process of tearing at each other, they ripped off each other's arms. Finally, the cake box held by the real couple was open, and inside, the couple's figurines were already in tatters. But the newlyweds couldn't be bothered. They raised their glasses in tacit understanding. Surprisingly, the red wine splashed onto the woman's body.